Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve, also known as Pin, and I am glad to be back. I know I've had some time away, I apologise, personal things, personal reasons, etc, blah blah blah, but I'm back now, fully fighting fit and razor sharp, and it's a good job too because I've just got back in time to take a look at the RSI Perseus, a ship that is awesome. It was awesome in concept, and now it's here, it's even more awesomer. And I don't even know if that is a word, but I'm sticking with it because it is awesomer than the concept, and the concept was pretty awesome. The ship looks exquisite. It's one of the best looking ships, if not the best looking ship in the game, in my opinion, which is humble, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. This ship looks fantastic, right? The Polaris looked amazing externally, really good. This looks better, and I don't know why. It's the same company that make the ship. It just seems, I don't know, it's chef's kiss good. It's amazing. So I'm back in time to record the Perseus. I'm glad to be back. Now, saying that, because I've spent some time away with health issues, I would really appreciate, and this is the only time I will ever ask you to do this in any of my videos, but the algorithm has forgotten who I am, and I must admit I need a little help from you guys. If you do enjoy the video, please press the like button. Don't smash it, you're not an ape, just press it like a normal human, and consider subscribing if you would like to see more SE content in the future, of which I have lots, because I've been recording like a goddamn madman since getting my health back up and running, and I'm fighting fit and razor sharp. So, all that algorithm nonsense out the way, let's talk about the Perseus, why it's awesome, why it's one of my favourite ships, why it's drop dead gorgeous, and what we can expect in the future with this wonderful machine. So, RSI Perseus. Let's begin the journey of what a fantastic ship this really is. Where to start? Well, I think it would be a mistake from me not to start with just how the ship looks. Right now, it's not exactly a massive ship. I think it's roughly 100 meters long off the top of my head, but there's something aesthetically about the Perseus that just agrees with me immensely, and a lot of other people. This is a very attractive ship. There's no two ways about it. I think when you compare it to the Polaris, I don't know, man. I think the Perseus, it just has that extra wow factor somehow. The Polaris is also clearly a fantastic ship, right? I'm not saying it's hideous or anything, and the exterior detail is also epic. But there's something about this Perseus. Maybe it's because it resembles a modern day warship, frigate, that sort of, it's hard to put my finger on why I like it. I just do. You know when you just like something. I can't find descriptive words to explain why it looks so good. It just does. It might just be the fact that it's so angular and aggressive looking, poignant, demonic in some respects from certain angles, that it's kind of that aggressive nature of the Perseus that endears me to it, right? I think that's probably a very good reason for that, because the ship is a weapon, essentially. It's a Redeemer on steroids times 10 when you think about it, because you only need 3 crew, essentially, just 3 crew, pilot, and then you get your 2 friends to sit in the man turrets and you go around slapping everything. The Perseus is going to be a menace in and around the verse, for sure. Especially, you just need a group of 3 in one of these. It's going to cause a lot of problems. The firepower is ridiculous, let's be honest. It got upgunned from size 7s to size 8s, which is always nice. So we will see how this all pans out with the Perseus. I kind of feel like it's going to be the new combat daddy of the space verse. The verse space. And I think when people travel to and from systems, getting ambushed by Perseus is almost certainly going to be a realistic thing. Pirates, Pirates in the Perseus, the Perseus pirates. You heard of them? Yeah. So I can kind of see where this is going, and I wouldn't be surprised if later on down the line we get a couple of nerfs for it somehow. This tends to be the trend, right? When we get a new ship, we will see. But as a ship goes, I think for a close escort for your fleet, your Idris, your Polaris, your whatever you're flying these days, having a Perseus on hand on station is never going to be a bad thing, because it's easy to deploy, very easy to fly, extremely maneuverable. The acceleration on this ship, by the way, is ridiculously quick. Yeah. This, a Hammerhead, an Idris, the Polaris, I think it's a sure thing to say that this is going to be a mainstay of any fleet, right? Especially a combat-orientated organisation. Even a medium to low-end, small-sized org is going to have a fighting chance if you have a Perseus or a couple of Perseus, which is, I'm guessing, Persei? Must be Persei, right? What's the plural? Yeah, we'll go for Persei because it's got to be. We'll go for, yeah, so a couple of Persei, and you've got a pretty solid fleet straight off the bat. You know, pair that with maybe a Hammerhead for 2 Hammerheads for fighter screening, and then you got your Idris with its own hangar, then you got the Polaris with a hangar. So yeah, I think the Perseus is going to be probably the mainstay combat vessel, in my opinion. And so, as I said before, I was trying to figure out why I like the look of the Perseus so much. So I went to Pyro and found a lake and parked in it. Now, it clearly, absolutely clearly, belongs in water, in my opinion. It actually does look like a modern day frigate, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why it looks so freaking cool. It just looks like a duck to water, doesn't it? It looks like it lives here. Right? Look at that. You wouldn't... If I was to show someone this ship from the front, sat in this water, what do you think that is in this game? They didn't know what this game was. They'd say, oh, well, that's a combat boat, wouldn't they? Look at it. They absolutely would. I think it looks fantastic. It really does look... It looks like a World War II destroyer, kind of, but really, really modern. So they've merged the two looks. The bridge is that classic overhang look. You've got the 2 massive deck guns, if we could call them that. Well, I suppose we are on water, so yes, we could call them deck guns. It looks superb. It just looks absolutely fantastic, and it definitely looks like it belongs on water. Yeah, look at it. Look at it. It's fantastic. It belongs on water, I'm telling you. Non-negotiable. That's brilliant. Anyway, let's take a look then at the main point of this ship, and that's its weapons. Okay, so we know the Perseus is rocking some serious firepower. 2 man turrets, now featuring some whopping size 8 weaponry. Bespoke, of course. These things are going to absolutely slap most things in the verse. Now, they did say, bizarrely, that it's kind of for taking down constellations. Now, I'm not being funny, right? But 2 4 size 8s is more than enough to go around slapping constellations, in my opinion. So I'm not quite sure where they got that from, but it's like, oh, okay, so you're in your massive heavy gunboat, and you're just going around picking on constellations. Like, hello? Probably not. You know, there's other ships out there that could just as easily get bitch slapped by the Perseus. Why are you picking on the connies? Like, hello? So yeah, I found that amusing, because it should, you know, of course it's going to chew through constellations. Of course it is. But, you know, we'll see how many pirates are out there just on the mission to hurt constellations and corsairs, maybe, or, you know, I think a 600i is more of a juicy target. No, I don't know. I found that amusing. But yeah, there's no denying that the firepower is going to be amazing. I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get the plasma rounds. I was hoping for, or any other kind of bespoke sort of ammo for it. I was kind of expecting, but we didn't get that. Okay, so we know it's got the massive turrets. Obviously a huge selling point. Again, you just need to pilot 2 friends and then you're pretty much covered. I did notice this optical display by the turret. Not quite sure what it was, but I did find it interesting. It might be the remote camera for the co-pilot and gunner stations. I'm not entirely sure, but I did really like the detail. You'll also see there's the PDCs here, which I believe recently just got nerfed, so they do 50% damage, but I'm okay with that because they're only there to shoot down missiles, and you know, if things get a little bit too close, they're there to take down torpedoes and missiles. They shouldn't really be taking down shields and slapping ships, so I kind of agree with that. We do have multiple remote Gatling guns operated from various seats on the ship, which is very useful. Again, more sort of fighter screening than anything else, I would have thought. I doubt very much you're going to shoot down missiles with these. I mean, it's possible, but I doubt it. It's more sort of fighter screening and a little bit more DPS to whatever you're shooting at. Maybe the Constellation is too strong for your size 8s for whatever reason, and these will help put down a little bit more firepower. So it's good that they're there. We also have, obviously, underneath we have the massive secondary turret, and believe it or not, it's actually got a very good gun depression. Both the turrets are extremely well thought out when it comes to gun depression and where you can look. It was a little bit surprising how much gun depression you got. You've also got this chin turret, which is operated in the bridge remotely, which is very useful. Again, fighter screening and maybe missiles, torpedoes if you're lucky. If the PDCs don't do it, then these will do it if you've got a good enough aim. So yeah, very surprising. And then of course we have the turret. Let's talk about the gun depression. Let's talk about the rotation, and let's talk about how effective do we think these are going to be. I think they're going to be pretty effective. As you can see, the rotation is actually way faster than I was expecting. The elevation for the top man turret is very good. Like, the guns go really high up. They sound absolutely amazing. You can fire both the Gatlings and the cannons at the same time should you want to. Of course, the Gatlings will overheat. These are both ballistic weapons, so they will both overheat, I think, after a certain amount, but you'll be able to change between the two. I kind of like the fact that you've got a PDC here right next to that turret as well, so if someone's trying to target your turrets, you've got a good chance of protecting yourself from that as well. So it's kind of a good place to have a PDC, in my opinion. But yeah, they sound fantastic. The rotation is fantastic. It's much faster than I'm showing you here. You really can swing this thing like it's nothing. Yeah, fantastic. No complaints from me. Obviously, just don't shoot the bridge. As you can see, the animation here is absolutely superb. Typical stuff that we expect from SIG. This is definitely one of my favourite releases in a long time. The Polaris was great, but it felt a little bit dead inside. Perseus is a whole different animal, and it's just a glorious ship. You can see here, bottom turret, same rotation speeds, of course there is. I did forget to flip the ship into the sunlight, so apologies for that. It is a little bit dark, but yeah, the gun depression for this bottom turret is really good, and so it should be. It has no obstructions, obviously, so the coordination between the two turrets, whoever you decide to put in there friends wise, is going to be pretty paramount to getting the most effective firepower from the ship itself and expelling the most DPS you are possibly able to do. Yeah, very good, very well thought out ship. Now, in the concept, all those many years ago, there was a remote Gatling at the back. There was a lot of concerns by the engines that it wasn't going to defend anything. Now, they've remedied that by putting a PDC on the top and a PDC on the bottom of the center of the engine nacelles. So that's good. And as you can see, the engines here, I love them. They're brilliant. They're really quick. The ship absolutely shifts. Acceleration is actually quite quite an eye-opener, excuse me. Really did catch me off guard the first time, nearly flying into stuff, not paying attention to how quick you actually go in the Perseus. And here you can see its landing configuration, tricycle landing gear, and some nice animations when the gear come out and come up. Retracting wings at the back, kind of like that aesthetic, you know. I think that really sells the Perseus. It's just a giant arrowhead with some massive gun strap to it. But yeah, big chunky landing gear, which I like. Right, let's take a look at the ship's stock weapons and components then. Okay, so here we are with our trusty DPS calculator, and as you can see, we've got our Mantis, which are the remote turrets. We have plenty of those. Plenty of those. Not really a lot to say about them. You can swap them out if you wanted to, but I don't really intend to do that with mine. Now, the bespoke cannons are Medusas, and I think that is an excellent name for this ship. You know, Perseus, and the ship's weapons are called Medusas. Very good, Sig. Hats off to you. Well done. I like the creativity. Very good there. So as you can see, ample firepower on here as we scroll down through the mountain of weapon systems we have. I'm not even going to change my Mantis, to be honest, but we have our PDCs as well, the Swarm variant. And then we have how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swarms, and then we have our torpedoes at the bottom here. 10 of them, Reapers, and if you get the chance, you want to swap them for the Stalkers and manually load them, because it does a little bit more damage. All the same stats apparently, so you know, pay the money, get the Stalkers. Going to be a little bit more expensive though, but if you're going to outfit the ship, you might as well go all in, right? Especially on the combat ship. Shields, we have 2 size 3s and they're shore stops, and they are military, so as you can see we've got all military components, which is very nice. We have the Centurion size 3 power plants, we have the Mercury coolers, 2 of each, both size 3, all size 3 parts, components, apart from the radar. We have the Pontes for the QT drive, which, although military, isn't the fastest. It's not brilliant, it's not terrible, but you've got to weigh up range versus speed, so it's probably something to look into at some point, depending on your needs. I'm quite happy with it how it is, to be honest. We have the EPA size 2 radar, which, if you're using the ship correctly within a fleet, you'd probably be relying on the Polaris or Idris radar anyway, and then dispatching the Perseus out to get rid of whatever's causing you problems, I would have thought. So size 2 radar, it's serves a purpose for the ship of this size. It's not a big ship at all, so pretty good components. Right, so that's the externals of the ship. It is lovely, but now we need to talk about the internals, which I was very, very happy about. Now, my Polaris video, I was a little bit critical of the just null and void character sensation of that ship, and I was worried that was going to transfer to Perseus. I am pleased to see that is not the case, and in fact the Perseus is brimming with military character. It's got some flavour to it, which I'm very happy about. Like I said, I was a little bit on the fence, hoping that they weren't going to make the same Polaris vibe in this ship, because this ship has fantastic lore. I will put my old video up on screens for you to have a look if you so choose to understand the lore of the ship. But this ship has fantastic lore. It's got character, it's got flavour. It's the ship that shouldn't have, but did, you know. It was due for retirement. Then it went and bitch slapped some vandals. And they said, well, don't retire it. It's too OP. Bring it into production again. Keep making this ship. And they did. And it's awesome. You know, it's a heavily armoured ship. It's been through the wars, man. It's seen some things, man. It's done all that. And I think that's what part of the appeal is of this ship. And I'm very happy to see that it's got its own flavour. Right. As you can see. So we've seen there's a turret access point. There's a docking bay which is good. And obviously we have the two torpedo loading bays, which is nice and open, and that's good, in a nice V shape as well, to make loading the different torpedoes a lot easier. So that is the bottom deck. We have a turret, we have our docking collars, and then we have the torpedo loading bays, as you can see here, nicely throwing in the torps. No kerfuffling, just a nice V shape, easy to manage, I would have thought. So if you do upgrade your torpedoes, loading them shouldn't be a problem, really. They are still quite chunky though, aren't they, scale wise. Yeah, so you'll have the torpedo terminal that will it's a remote turret like the Polaris. So to fire the torps, you will need a man on station at this particular terminal on the starboard side, ready to use the camera, lock on, and send them hell. They are not pilot controlled. Here you can see the corridor and the two terminals. The one on the left is engineering, the one on the right is the torpedo terminal. I thought it was poignant to show how nicely lit the corridors are in here and how spacious they are, that unique shape. So easy to run to and fro if you get into a combat situation. As you can see here, this guy loading up those torps with that awesome animation, and things get killed. So fairly well designed, easy to get to, but you will need a man to fire those torpedoes. That brings us on to the middle deck, midsection of the ship. Yeah, there's quite a lot of features up here. I really like that sort of overlook down view that you get from that sort of platform. It's really cool. But on this level, we will find engineering. Most of the components are in here, not all of them, but we'll cover that when we come to do the walk around. So the engineering terminal, slap bang in the middle. You've got some really cool monitors up there explaining all kinds of stuff and things that are quite important to the operation of the ship. It's very spacious. Your engineer is going to have a fairly easy time maneuvering around the ship, patching stuff up, tripping over tools. You know, it's very tidy. There won't be any tripping over tools or anything like that. It's very tidy, and yeah, it's just really, really well done. I can't add much more to that. It's just a very pleasant engineering station. Then we have our living quarters stroke habitation area. Again, there's something about this compared to the Polaris where it just feels a little bit more accommodating, a little bit warmer, a little bit more flavour somehow compared to the Polaris, in my opinion. Very clean, sleek, very modern feeling. That sense of a combat ship is really well captured, more than the Polaris, in my opinion, inside. But the Polaris does have a much better engine room. I mean, that's outstanding. But for this ship, I'm really struggling to find somewhere to criticise with it, because I'm enamoured with it. I think it's great. Then we move on through to the crew quarters, of course. Now, 6-man crew is supposedly what you could say is fully operational. Easily a 3-man cruise ship, easily. So even a 2-man with that top turret is still fairly effective, right? But as you can see, there's enough room here for 6-man crew. Each bed has monitors, kind of. There is a toilet in here as well, a shoilet that I could not get the camera angle in there, so we'll take a tour of that when we come to do the walk around. It was just far too tight and angular for me to get in there. Adjacent the crew quarters, then, you will find your suit lockers and your weapon lockers, which is actually a really nice place to keep it, so you can log in and out, grab your gear, and go about your day. You know, you haven't got far to gear up. Also, if you get boarded for whatever reason, or you get under attack, you know, these are probably a good place to store it, I would have thought. Some other ships store the armory right next to the door. Not quite sure I agree with that. As you can see here, I did take a video clip of the corridor because I wanted to see if FPS might be a problem, but I don't think so. The unique shape kind of allows room, right, for maneuvering. They do have to think about FPS combat as well. Top deck then brings us to the captain's quarters, which is very generous and very sleek again. I really like the captain's quarters, actually. It does seem bland at first, but I think it's just the layout. And this is directly behind the bridge as well, so he can... Something should happen. He's in his office doing paperwork about how he shot someone in the face because reasons. Something happens and then boom, you're in the bridge. But you can see there's a toilet and a bed and his own weapon locker, and he's got a toilet, and yeah, great place for it actually, behind the bridge. I think that's probably the best place for any bridge, to be quite honest with you. You can see we do have escape pods as well that run adjacent to the bridge and the captain's quarters. So plenty of options to escape on the top deck, and there's also extra escape pods on the other decks as well. So all 6 crew have the opportunity to escape should shit hit the fan, basically. That brings us onto the bridge then. Very comfortable, little. It is a small bridge, but very effective. Well lit. Pilot, co-pilot, and then the gunner seat on the left there. So a few monitors. I would like to have seen maybe a few more monitors somewhere. A little bit more sci-fi-y. But overall, that, you know, I'm nitpicking here because the whole ship internally is just something else. It really is. Right, let's begin the tour of the ship. Before I forget, this is the new patch armor for this patch, obviously. I thought I'd showcase it. I kind of like it because it makes me feel like a Roman emperor. However, I will say, after running around in my ship for maybe 30-40 minutes, the cape, as awesome as it is, did start getting on my tits because it starts flapping around in your face and clipping on stuff, and you know, I mean, it looks fantastic, right? Look at it, yeah. Look how it flows in the wind. It's amazing. But after a while, when you're getting in and out your ship, that does get fucking irritating, I can tell you. Backpack and gun not part of that patch, by the way, bundle. So just in case you were interested, I thought I'd showcase that. Right, let's get into the Perseus tour, where we're just going to ramble and gush about the ship because it's awesome. Okay, so first of all, the engine nacelles, they look fantastic. I love them. It's that classic RSI look. This ship pulls it off the best when you consider things like the Mantis, the Meteor. The Meteor's another ship I will be doing very soon. I've got some serious thoughts about that ship, I can tell you that much. Anyway, back to the Perseus. Landing gear. As you can see, now, there is a lot of chipping here, quote-unquote weathering. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that's stock, i.e. you call the ship out brand new and that's supposed to be there, or I might have accidentally a little bit flew into a space station, maybe a tiny bit, maybe, and I'm not sure if it's damage. I don't think it is. I did repair the ship, so I'm not sure if it's weathering or whatnot. Now, obviously, we have to look into the gear well. I always look into the gear well to see if there's any lost detail in there. No idea. While I'm zooming in, it goes black. It's very annoying. But yeah, they haven't missed anything. It looks great. Obviously, we have the absolutely huge pair of guns on the belly of the ship with a unique muzzle barrel. I don't think I've seen that. Sorry, muzzle barrel. Muzzle. I don't think I've seen that particular muzzle on any of the other ships, which would make sense because they're bespoke weapons, obviously. So yeah, those things are they're just great. The ship is just great. I love it. I honestly, yeah, it's just great. Like I said, there is a lot of chipping and weathering, and I do kind of feel like that's down to me maybe flying into stuff. Like I said, the acceleration caught me out. As you can see, we have a tail PDC, and on top of that one, there is another one. So they got rid of the remote turret and replaced it with some PDCs. So let's move towards the front of the ship. So we have the button there for the main cargo elevator. Then we have a button there, as you can see. That's obviously the personnel elevator. Then we have the front landing gear. Big, thick, sturdy thing, that is. And inside, no detail spared. In fact, there's more detail on this gear well than anywhere else. I don't know why it keeps going dark when I zoom in. That's really annoying. That's really annoying. But it is what it is. You can see the detail there yourselves. And then we have the chin turret here. Again, 2 Mantis. Controlled, I believe that one's controlled by the gunner seat on the bridge. So the seat on the left. And we have a few more devices, a thruster, and of course that iconic razor sharp pointy nose. Now this ship is designed to be, when we get armor, eventually, soon, TM, this Perseus is supposed to be one of the most, if not the most, well-armoured ship, like heavily armoured, because it was built before times of advanced shield technology. Torpedoes launch from that checkered thing there. I don't know why the screen keeps going black when I zoom in. That's really unfortunate. Nothing I can do about that. It's out of my hands. We'll just have to put up with it. I can only apologise. So we'll make our way down the flank of the ship. We're on the starboard side. You can see we have an underarmed, if you could call it that, PDC sat there, ready to do the business. And that's pretty much it, apart from this button here that you'll find to get in and out of the ship. So let's hop in, but let's use the cargo ramp, because I did notice something on here which I found interesting. They've actually put the fuel port on the elevator. How cool is that? Kind of makes sense. I'm not sure how you would I mean, if I flew this to a Starfarer, do I have to... I mean, you see what I mean? Like, it's going to be quite tricky to fuel this ship by dropping the cargo. I mean, I'm not going to try it because I'm not daft. But for future expeditions, I think that's going to be very interesting to see, trying to get the nozzle in there. That's for sure. Anyway, so we come up. Ramp's great. Everything's great. It's got a basketball court in here as well, which I forgot to show, so I can only apologise, but there is a basketball court on this part of the ship. So you can see we've got the personnel elevator, we've got our torpedo loading bays flanking it either side. We have a ladder for quick access. We'll open this. Oh, I don't know why the screen keeps going black. That's very, very annoying. So as you can see, we've got our torpedoes in a lovely V shape. And that terminal up there is the engineering terminal. Plenty of room to get the torpedoes in and out, so you're not going to be tripping over yourself, which is nice. And I think there's room there. There's a rack behind those torpedoes. We'll see as we go into this one. Open. Like so. There's a rack behind the torpedo, so you could probably double stack, I think, but that's the torpedo launching terminal up there. Again, plenty of room to get these torpedoes in and out, so very well thought out. Looks really cool. They do have their own animations as well when they're being loaded and fired through the tubes of the ship, which is pretty cool. So docking doors, we have 2 on each side here. These are going to be useful for ship-to-ship docking, space station docking obviously, and having 2 is always good. And they do actually look pretty cool compared to some of the others that we have in game. So they open and extend like little capsules. Really good. Okay, so that's the bottom deck in a nutshell, pretty much. There's the gun turret through here. We have a ladder, relay station. Everything well labelled that they were keen to share with us, which, you know, it does help. Lower turret. Right, well, let's get in it. I mean, we're not going to see too much because I'm in the hangar. And if you want to experience this ship for yourself, then you need to go to Crusader, because it's on display in there and you can get in this ship and have a look around for yourself. So don't just take my word for it. Go see how awesome it actually is in person. Plenty of signposts telling you how to get there if you're new to the game. So yeah, we power on the turret, please. Thank you. Obviously, because we got the landing gear down and the floors there, I can't maneuver it more than that. But as seating arrangements go, it's not too shabby in here at all. And you do feel a little bit OP with these massive, massive size 8 guns pointing at stuff. We'll have a proper look on the top turret. It'll give us a bit more rotation and depression, and we can, it'll be better. So lower deck, obviously. Not a lot going on, apart from your cargo and your turret, really. A few docking ports. Nothing major, unless you're reloading torpedoes, right? So apart from that, not too much going on. So next we need to go to the main deck. Main deck. Here we are. And at the back, we have engineering. So let's go in here and take a closer look. Again, very clean, very easy. We have all our components, power plant right here. Radar, shields, avionics, everything you could possibly want. Fuses. Avionics obviously not being in game yet, but that'll be a thing. We've got engineering coming soon. TM. Yeah, I don't know what this is at all. It looks like some sort of futuristic dustbin or hoover or filter. It's a filter in it. Surely. It's an air filter. And if that's got to be. Right? Things blow up, there's going to be smoke and steam, you take damage, you know, maybe it's got to be filters. Let's go with, I think they're filters, rather than like a space age dustbin. Quantum drive, look, nicely stored, easy to get that repair beam working on things that break in here. Again, life support, avionics, relay. Pretty self-explanatory. It's just a very clean, methodical layout of the engineering room. You know, and then obviously the terminal with a pretty cool keyboard. I must admit, I really want to press the buttons on. They looks like one of those hard keyboards, you know, when you press some really springy keys. That's the dream ticket right there. Yeah, so as you can see, kind of got Zeus vibes, hasn't it? The interior with the angles, which makes sense. Same manufacturer, just a bigger Zeus vibe. But definitely more vibrant and alive than some of the Zeuses, in my opinion. So, onto the kitchen area. Pretty standard stuff. I mean, there's arrows that there's a flow going here. Not quite sure how that works, but there's a flow apparently. So, yeah, I mean, serves a purpose, doesn't it? Whether or not we get these functioning in the future, I don't know. They say a lot of stuff, CIG. Hopefully it'll be a thing, but you know, grab a plate, throw it in the microwave, get a drink, grab your cutlery, and then when you finish, throw it in the bin. That's the flow, I guess. Very spacious in here, despite the tight angles. We have some monitors on the wall to help keep the crew entertained, which is obviously very important. Not entirely sure what's going on here. Okay, let's take a look. Now, we have Bravo 8, right? And that is orange, and Foxtrot 7 is also orange. So we can assume then that everything's fine as long as Bravo 8 and Foxtrot 7 are orange. It's very important that Bravo 8 and Foxtrot 7 remain orange at all times, otherwise things are going to go wrong. Okay, so just remember that. Forget engineering with relays and all of that stuff, fire and all that nonsense. Just remember, Bravo 8, Foxtrot 7. If they're not orange, you're in for a hard time. Just remember that. That's all you need to know. We also have a spaceball table. And no spaceballs, CIG. So, can you know, the carrot chasm, please. But we do have the classic RSI logo with the plants, which is something that is found on the Polaris, right, just outside the crew quarters. We also have our table for 6 crew. We have a little bench. It's very spacious. It's got some windows in here too. It's amazing how they've managed to get so much space with the shape of the internals of the ship, right, with all these right angles and whatnot. Right, we'll make our way to the crew quarters then, opposite the dining area. And as you can see, six bunk beds. We get underneath. There is personal storage on every bunk. There's room there for flare for your crew, which is like a nice little touch. Can't quite see in there. I think there are little tiny monitors. Let me back up a little bit. Is it just the one? I definitely saw a monitor. Aha! I knew it. I thought I was going crazy. Yeah, I'm not sure if they all have, but there's a tiny monitor up there, and light controls as well, so you can all fight about what kind of light settings you want, because I'm assuming they've all got it. Just very hard to get the angles. Anyway, moving on. We have some benches to sit on and get dressed, I suppose. And we have the toilet in here, which was, again, the angles were far too tight for me to get the camera working in here. So, as you can see, nice animation. And there's the shower above you, and a working mirror. And that's not my face, but that's someone else's face on my body. What's going on? Ah, that is freaky. That is not normal. That is really, really. Look at my eyes. They're dead like a shark's. Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah. No, thank you. Let's leave. Not a fan of my face, I have to say. Right, moving on. That brings us to the armory forge-stroke suit locker area of the ship. Very nicely done. Red lights as well. Lots of red lights indicating combat situations. I do like that touch. I find it very immersive, I have to admit. And again, it's probably actually a sensible place to have the suit lockers and the weapons so easily attainable. You know, just in case you did get boarded or something happens. Not everyone, I would have thought, is going to be on the bridge, maybe. I guess it's just a safer place, I should say, to store weapons and armor, right? So that is the mid-deck. So there, as you can see, we've got our windows there. Very Zeusy sort of corridors, and plenty of room though. You know, I was quite surprised. We have our quick use ladders there. 2 escape pods. Don't forget there's 4 on the top deck as well, so that's 6. So there will be a little bit of scrambling around, I feel like, to get to the escape pods if something really bad should happen to you. And this is where you activate the... I kind of like that there's a button on the top mid-deck, as well, to operate that, rather than you having to go all the way to the bottom. You can also open up the basketball hoops here, but I completely forgot to do that during the tour. So the lift comes up. Pretty simple stuff. Can obviously get a Nurser in there. I have fit it in, but the gun on the Ursa will clip a little bit as you're driving it in, so just be careful. We have more components here, which is why I was saying earlier, not all of them are located in the engineering room. But again, it's not a horrible place to run to try and patch them up if you need to. More escape pods. Always nice to see plenty of escape pods. Then we have our engineering terminal. And then the torpedo firing station. So we get on here. If you own the Polaris or you've been on the Polaris, you'll understand how this works. Armed, too close, Reaper, EM, use remote turret, and then you would lock on to whatever was in front of you. And then kill it. Spam those torps, send them. And then follow it up with these ridiculously massive guns, probably. I don't think much is going to... Well, I know for a fact that Constellation isn't going to survive that. That still find that amusing. Anyway, so off the terminal. Yeah, it just looks... The whole ship, as you walk through it, you start to appreciate how much detail there is, and your eye doesn't pick it up. It's just... it is. You know what I mean? You feel wrapped around in it. It's a very immersive ship, I have to say. It's just fantastic. So we'll hop in this top turret now, and we'll get a sense of depression, speed, rotation, all that sort of good stuff. So I'm not even swinging this turret at full speed. I think we are now. But as you can see, the elevation of these guns, pretty good. The responsiveness is very good, and you know, the two Mantis track, same as the big guns, but there's no real complaints here. Obviously, just do not shoot the bridge in the face, because that's not going to end well. Yeah, Medusa cannon, brilliant name, Perseus Medusa. It's just fair play, Sig, fair play. I appreciate it. Yeah, but inside the turret, plenty of room. You can see there's a double stick format used here to operate this system. 2 MFDs, nice and clear, no glitching, no sort of specs or hard to read nonsense. It's all crystal clear. No complaints from me. Very easy to use and understand. You know, we get all the usual stuff. Staggered fire. You can change the geometry of the weapons, blah blah blah, etc. So yeah, really good. And now we'll head back. So that takes us back through the torpedo bay, past the escape pods, back to the mid deck. Now we need to make our way back through to the main deck here. There's the elevator. It takes us to top deck. So we hop on this. Upper deck. So only 3 decks, which is good. It's less likely you're going to get lost, especially with all the labelling. So we have our 4 escape pods, as shown before. And then as we come out and take a left from the elevator, that takes us directly to the captain's quarters. So let's make our way inside. As you can see, quite generous, right? Very tidy, very methodical, but it's got some life and colour in it somehow. Quite like it. I'm just going to sort out my mouse feels a little bit. No, it's on 2. Okay. Just my mouse felt a little bit jerky, but I think it's alright. Yeah, I don't know how to... Cozy, that's the word. Ah, yes, the English language is finally catching up with me. So cozy is the word, and as you can see, we do have a camera here that is looking at the entry point to your door, so you can preeminently let someone in or shut it. We'll see if there's any borders on the way as we take a seat. Suit locker, 1-man bunk, obviously, with a monitor, I believe. We have our toilet. We go in. It does have its own animation if we can get it to work. Come on. There we go. Pop out bog. Very nice. Lighting as well, you can adjust in here. Lights around the toilet. So the captain is well equipped, well catered for. Suit locker, of course. And storage locker above the bunk bed there. So you can store your stuff and things. Weapon rack. So, yeah. Then it's just a case of getting your flare and throwing it all over the place. You have dedicated shelves there for it, look. So you can definitely spruce up your ship, give it a bit of personality. And then we can head into the bridge area of the ship. We'll open this, though, because this is another entry and exit point between... At the back of the bridge, sorry, kind of. To the left of it. Which is a kind of It's very useful if you need to do spacewalks, or in the future, you know, if you get battered a little bit and you need to patch up the ship with your hand tool, for example, because you haven't got a salvager or anything close. You can walk along here and EVA if needs be to patch up the ship, and walking along here is awesome because you really do get to see how much detail the exterior is just dripping in it. All the panel lines, rivets, nuts, bolts, it's all flush, you know, stickers keep clear here and all that. It's a nice little touch, that, and it's secured by 3 extra sturdy doors just to stop people getting in so easily. And that brings us to the bridge, which again, not a massive bridge, but it's very, very nice in here. Weapon locker, just in case, right? Probably a smart thing. Weapons are everywhere, not hard to get any weapons, so you might as well store some on the ship. Relays, fire extinguisher. Then we have our monitors here with some nice cool piping above it. Not sure what these are displaying, but I can tell you that 86% is normal, so don't worry about that, alright? Everything is fine. We have the left gunner station. Okay, very nice seat. Look at the stitching in the seat. They really do put some detail in these things. It looks incredible. We have the pilot seat here with various buttons again. And that's copied with the co-pilot seat here. So, let's hop in the pilot seat. And get that sweet animation. Up and round and bang. You're straight away looking at that monstrous turret. Only 2 MFDs. Which I don't mind, because sometimes it can get a little bit cluttered. If you look at the RSI constellations, they're obviously fantastic ships, but there is a lot of MFDs. Some people like that. I think it can be a little bit cluttering sometimes, but the vision in here, the viewpoint, obviously behind you is non-existent, but overall the view is fantastic. Of course, we have all of our usual MFD functionality here. That you just have to scroll through to get to what you want. But they all work, they're all crisp, very clean looking MFDs, aren't they? The RSI ones, they're probably some of the nicer ones in the game. Remind me of the Scorpius. So that's a thing. But yeah, radar as well, that's nice and crisp in the middle. That's easy to read, there's no blurriness or anything to it. In previous iterations of the game we've had, the radar has been horrific. But this ship, honestly, it's going to come good. I can't wait to see fleet battles unfolding, which is only going to be a matter of time, because you do not need a lot of people on this ship to be combat effective. Like I said, pilot and 2 gunners, and you are good. Good to go, pretty much. So that's the pilot's seat. Let's get in the gunner's seat. No power. Let's turn that on. No. I was meant to enter the remote turret, not get out the seat, please. So, sit your ass back in there, boy. There we go. Flight ready. Enter remote turret, please. There we go. So, as you can see, this is the chin turret. Directly under that poignant nose. Nice and fast. More sort of for fighter screening, to put a little bit of DPS down on it. Maybe you're getting swarmed for whatever reason. Maybe there's a couple of fighters you need to squash. Then, yeah, sure. Like I said, you might be able to get a few torps or missiles with them, but I think they're primarily for sort of fighter repelling more than anything else. I mean, you could certainly gun down some enemy soldiers and whatnot if you're in a position or orbiting above a position on land that you needed to sort of hurt people on the ground. Then that's certainly an option for sure. This is the top one then, right on the top of the bridge at the back of the ship. Looks good, right? Yeah. This ship just looks great. I'm really happy to see it finally here. So not bad, is it, this game, for a scam? You know, it's just fucking idiots. This ship is brilliant. You know, I love it. I love it. I'm so happy it's here. I think it's going to make a lot of people happy, a lot of players happy, a lot of organisations happy. Hell, I think Sig are happy. We are finally getting all these ships coming to bear. Don't forget the railing's on its way. That's another one that I'm really looking forward to. So there we go, guys. That is my video on the amazing RSI Perseus. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to like and subscribe, and that is the last time I will ask. So thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned. I've been recording like a madman. I've got a lot coming down the pipeline. Other than that, guys, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant day, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Cheers.